Brunch. Sunday, April 10th is the date today, and a whole lot of things going on in your world, including the statements, the reviewed budget that came from the Minister of Finance. We will be discussing that with economist Marlene Nats very shortly. It is currently 12 minutes away from the top of the hour. My next guest was with us a year ago. He is a criminal defense attorney, Daniel Khan. He's the son of the attorney Israel Khan, who did give them a mouthful at the hearing of the Attorney General. We'll talk about that. In 2011, he was appointed Inspector of Prisons. That role requires him to visit prisons monthly and investigate all complaints and concerns, bringing to the attention of the prison commissioner any infringement of the law. 7 years he's been in this position, and he's seen the hurdles of managing the nation's general and remand prisoners, as well as the challenges and dangers faced by prison officers. Inspector Khan, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good morning to you.
Thank you for having me, and good day to all your viewers out there, your listeners.
I see you look more fit this time than I saw you a year ago. What are you doing? The gym? Are you doing this to embarrass me? I mean, am I supposed to?
No. Well, I thought it was radio, so I didn't know looks would matter, but
you look good for it, my brother. Life is good to you. That is good. I extrapolate from your contribution you made at the public hearing on crime hosted by the Attorney General that you tire of the allegations made against prison authorities regarding the remand population. It prompted your statement, I believe. The prisoners in remand are not the responsibility of the prison, but those of the judiciary. Now, true, you made it clear to me, you elucidated a lot of us, hey, I didn't know that because I found that out good. But I get the feeling there was another reason you mentioned that. Why were you doing it?
Well, I think it's to shed light on really how we are dealing with this situation. I mean, strictly speaking, the remandees are the judiciary. And the reason why they are more aggressive is because they are there longer than they ought to be, awaiting their trial. And that is challenges that the judiciary is currently having with backlog and delay.
This is not keeping remand prisoners, is not what the prison is made for. It is not our responsibility. We are to keep convicted men. The safety and well-being of remand prisoners is the judiciary responsibility. Yes, I am basically repeating that because you are making a point here that is going to go straight into the area of the judiciary have to step up. But I want you to make clear for our listeners where the delegation of duty is delineated. Where is that?
Okay. A prison traditionally is to house convicted men and women, convicted persons. Now, we are specifically built for that. You have sentencing principles. I'll just focus the two. We want them to be rehabilitated. 90%, 95% are going back out. And we are keeping them society safe from these convicted persons. Simply, we hope that they stay with us, they will be rehabilitated and hopefully not reoffend. The jail, what they normally call a jail, is for those remandees. They're presumed innocent. We can't necessarily rehabilitate them. We are not really concerned with keeping society safe from them. That is not our role. But because of the training and the building structures of keeping them confined, the prison system is asked to do that. Now, yes, it's to highlight the issue. Now, jail, there are jurisdictions. South Africa has separate institutions, separately funded, separately controlled, under separate ministries, and it works like that. It has to be a mindset that there are differences. The similarities being that you're keeping people confined, but there are significant differences.
It raises a point to me that I wondered, and you can, of course, bring me, that's why we come to you, the authority on this. I wonder if cognizance that these prisoners, these remandees, are in fact the responsibility of the judiciary, and it is not the first responsibility of prison officers. Is there in any way a possibility that that could influence the manner in which they deal with remandees, that could impact adversely that relationship between prison officers and remandees?
Yes. Well, I mean, it's the same relationship you have, but worse with remandees. You are keeping persons against their will.
And they're innocent, thus far.
Yes. Presumed innocent, we would say. And they want to leave. No one really wants to be confined.
That's right.
But they are presumed innocent, and they don't know when they're getting their trial. They believe every time they go to court, they have a hope that their trial will start.
Yes.
When it doesn't, they come back with despair. And it's this alternate feeling of hope and despair, as opposed to the convicted persons that say, okay, I have a fixed sentence to stay here. I will put my house in order. Yes, I would like to leave earlier. If there's issue of parole, if we get to that later. But I know my future, or I could see the end of the road, or I could see the light. I could see the pathway. The remandees, they know what the pathway is, but it's not open, or there's too many hurdles because of the delay and the backlog. So, yes, we ought to see a clear philosophical difference. But how that philosophical difference extends to institutions, buildings, treatment, it really highlights that there have to be a clear delineation to the two different types of prisoners.
I'm very happy that you make the point of the frustration of a man presumed innocent when he's supposed to go to court. He gets to court, the attorney doesn't show up for some reason, the court is not ready, the police is not ready, prosecution is not ready. He gets back inside and they're really angry, and that changes the whole dynamic of his imprisonment. Now, I wonder, or rather, I think your statement goes on to make clear that what we're doing is training people to become criminals. Because if you're held against your will and you're existing in a crab barrel, as it were, of remandees, who many of them very frustrated for their own reasons, and you have to survive, you have to learn the ways of that environment to survive. There is no way you can come out anything close resembling to what you were when you went in. So you may be getting people to do a training of survival of a harsh nature, and then you ask them to reincorporate themselves into society. It's not really the easiest thing, is it?
No, Rennie, that is what I said, but probably not so forcefully as you said. It's not to say we are training them. I never like to use an active term. The environment is not one that is pushing them in the right direction or guiding them in the right direction of rehabilitation. If I take collective responsibility, and we have a classroom, you have young students that are more academically minded. Then you have the ones that are still developing their nature, the mischief makers. You put them all together, and there's a pull and tug. Does the class now simply fall into mischief? Does the class raise up by the ones? But the segregation is the problem, and yes, in many cases, we are putting people at risk and society at risk by increasing their criminality because of exposure to the environment and to others.
Daniel Khan, who's the inspector of prisons, is my guest inside Brunch this morning. Give me the exact number of prisoners that we have in remand and the complement of officers supervising them. One, I'm trying to get two things clear. What the actual number is that's costing us this $50 million a month, according to the Attorney General. What the exact number of remandees are. How many prison officers we have who are overseeing them. As against, I'm trying to find out if there's an understaffing of officers overseeing the situation. As you mentioned, that is dynamic. It changes from one appearance before going to court today to how you react when you come back. I'm trying to see if we have adequate officers overseeing these people.
Well, it certainly is understaffed. I could give you the figures probably around entire population, between 4,000, that's convicted persons and remands. Let's say about 1,800, 2,000 remandees. But to say the force, it really is, the Attorney General has done amazing research. I have never seen figures broken down like that. But breaking it down into dollars and cents sometimes is misleading. You could have X amount of prison officers, but some may be on leave. Some have a shift system. Hands down, I can say we are understaffed. And while the society at large has appreciated the Attorney General's breaking down into dollars and cents, the value of human life and the value of society and our safety you can't put a dollar quantity on that.
I want to get into that area of bail just for a moment, but just before I do that, help me, sometimes I'm slow on a Sunday morning, help me, please, Daniel, understand what is the message you were trying to send, if you were trying to send one, to the judiciary with identifying these remandees are not our responsibility. I'm trying to understand what is the point you were making, please.
Yes. Okay, the point was to society and the powers that be, not to the judiciary. Not to lay blame at judiciary, but to understand what is going on. The judiciary can only do what they are funded to do. And they have a large problem. Because no matter if the remandees are rightfully under our care and you invest in us, you must invest in the judiciary. You must invest in the criminal justice system, trial system. And you could get a bail after, but there's no way. And the learned Chief Justice said, I believe 2 years ago, that we are sinking. You cannot hear all these trials. You simply cannot. I think somebody calculated, well, right or not, if you stopped with the backlog and how trials are run, we'll be doing the trials we currently have for about 15 years.
The head of one of these tribunals, Professor Diosaran, said we are in fact punishing people twice. And your father went on to say we are not even melting down. We are close to collapse, is what is being said on this situation. As such, let me ask you as Inspector of Prisons, the question of on-campus courts, or on-premises courts, I apologize, on-premises courts, i.e. setting up some courts right up there in Golden Grove and at different places to have hearings. Do you see that as one of the components moving towards correcting the situation?
I think I agree that will assist, but it's not the savior of the entire system, because in my opinion, what it will set down is the travel costs, the back and three from the prison to the courts. But if you're going to have your trial, the magistrate has to be there, the witnesses have to be there, the attorney has to be there. I don't know if one is referring to video links or if one is you're going to actually have a court in the prison system, but all really going to cut down is the travel costs.
Is the travel cost.
And in my opinion, I mean, from the literature I've read and the proposals they have so far, and also the delay in waking them up, getting them ready, and the transport is really it is a safety issue if you ever see them.